Thank you very much for the invitation from Norway to Greece, a little bit different climate zone, but I was very pleased to be invited to speak about places, designing places for connection, because this is what the built environment is about. It's not about, there's nothing like architecture for the sake of architecture. It's about people, independent from which realm we are working in. And just to give you a little bit of context, you see the mountain Snøhetta. And for over 30 years, we have borrowed our name from this beautiful mountain in Norway. And we are saying Snøhetta is a place that nobody is from, but everyone can go to. So it's really about the connectivity. And what we do every year, we are gathering all our colleagues from all around the world. We are now around 400 with offices in New York, Oslo, where I am living, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Innsbruck, Paris, Melbourne, and Adelaide. And we are going to the mountain together, the mountain Snøhetta. It's about, of course, to also remind ourselves if we are still accountable for the values we claim, but also to reconnect. It's about the physical experience, and in the end, it's about the people. It's also kind of relate ourselves to the landscape phenomena, that you also have such a beautiful landscape here in Greece. But it's also to understand that architecture has nothing else to understand, to resist, but nature. So it's also about sharing this common experience. So we are a global actor in the world of architecture, but we are not only architects, we are also interior architects, landscape architects, product and graphic designers. And when you look at our work, you will see there's nothing like a kind of formal signature in it. It's really about promoting values that are maybe connotated with the north of Europe, promoting generosity, accessibility, and putting people in the center of what we are doing. So as much important as the build result is how you create your processes, because it's really about the mindset, the generosity that you put into your work, how you have your working environment, team spirit, the prototyping. I think this is so important when you are dealing with a built environment, that you understand that this is a direct outcome of the way you work together. So we have created a series of methodologies where we invite our stakeholders, our collaborators, to co-create and to really focus on the content of what we are doing, not necessarily about speaking about the project primarily, but to create something that we called a conceptual springboard, which will then act as a kind of co-creational ground, the basis for the subsequent design, so to say. So we are a true believer that creativity is collective. It's about the collective intuition and promoting these values that we are so fond of, that it's about the integration of disciplines. It's about the collective and the ownership, so to say, and that architecture is always also a political domain. We are of the true belief that architecture and the built environment can contribute to the better of societies, how we live together, and the built environment is something that is for us all. So we have a very clear, how to say, a value proposition from which we work from, that architecture always has to foster in community engagement. And we were lucky that we have, over the 30 years of our practice, been given the trust to work with very many or very prominent cultural venues all over the world. You see some of them, some here, some are in construction, the Oslo Opera, you might know, the Shanghai Opera, museums, libraries all over the world. And it started with the Library of Alexandria, which was kind of the re-inception of the Library of Alexander the Great, our first project. And you see this kind of circular footprint, 160 meter wide, as a kind of representation of the world knowledge. It was at that time, it's now not anymore because we have designed the Beijing Library. It was the largest reading room in the world with 4 million books that can be expanded into 8 million books. But it's also kind of how it kind of relates itself to the city, as you can see, so working on different scales. And also kind of giving the value to the smallest kind of element in the books, the letter. So the wall is one of the world's largest artworks, so, with representation of all alphabets all over the world. And we also opened a quarry and educated the masons working locally. So it's also to show that architecture and cultural projects have such an impact also on society, economy, and the understanding. And we were so touched when, during the Arabic Springs, the people were building a human wall around the building because they understood it's a gift for themselves. So also the value the project has today and the relevance. It is not only a library, it's a museum, it's a lot of public programs running. It's kind of a beacon, a powerhouse of kind of a civic discourse promoting peace, civic kind of ownership and consciousness all around the world. The same kind of a little bit the Oslo Opera, that commission that we won in 2000. And for us it was also to question what is this cultural monument today. For us, we were of the clear belief also that an opera, a cultural building, has to have a relevance for everyone. So we translated the cultural monument into a social monument, making this into a true, accessible destination in the city of Oslo. And as you can see, it has gained kind of, turned into the main touristic attraction in Oslo, and also putting Norway on the kind of global tourism map due to the project being also a kind of a catalyst. And in the Nordic countries, in Norway, we have this kind of heritage right since the 1950s. It's called the right to roam, meaning you can move freely around landscape independent from private property rights. So we try to translate this into the built environment, truly referencing this, which is kind of very intuitively embedded in the Nordic societies, that landscape belongs to everyone. So moving on the roof of the opera is more moving through landscape and then also establishing this collective ownership intuitively. So this, I think, is an important understanding of also our responsibility as architects, how we kind of are giving trust with this big project that they are kind of giving back to the citizens in the end. And also how we work with references, also how you understand that these kind of languages that we are using are more related maybe to nature than rather to built environment, the integrated artwork, as you can see here, the curtain of the American artist Pei. Looks like crushed aluminium, but is a textile in the end, and also how we treated the roof of the opera. We have still snow in Norway. So it's kind of really, it's taken in use, as you can see here. It's a highly, highly public destination. Maybe the most visitors that we had, because you can also have an open air concert on the roof of the building with Justin Bieber. But in a political sense, you can use the ground twice. You can have an open air concert on top of the roof and at the same time having an opera performance inside the building. So it's not kind of limiting. The building is kind of also acting as a civic stage. And at the same time, the Oslo Fjord was cleaned as part of the construction process. So last year, we opened a public beach very close to the opera. So you can see also kind of the blending of different cultural realms, which I find truly touching also for us to see. Just to see also that the opera was kind of a part of the starting point of the new neighborhood in Oslo, putting the highway under the street, building the cultural building, and now turning into a new neighborhood in Oslo. That is where the cultural buildings, a library, our opera, and a museum are kind of acting as a catalyst also for the economy, obviously. And now it seems that this is stopping for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, sorry. I can't actually see what is happening on the screen. Then I have to turn a little bit around. Because from Oslo to New York, we were also had the privilege to work with a retrofit of the Times Square, which is the most visited place in the world. 400,000 visitors a day. So this was really about transferring or kind of transforming the traffic space into a civic pedestrian space. And there were actually no studies made on traffic because the New Yorkers said that cars are like water. They will find their way. And we worked with this for quite a substantial amount of years. But it's not really about designing. It's really about catering for encounter, putting these infrastructures, these benches for people to meet, having power, electricity, internet. And maybe similar to the Oslo Opera, that there is mat performance, live performance happening on the Times Square, because the Times Square is also something like the public foyer to all the theaters at Broadway. And every 3 minutes to midnight, all the advertisement turned into a 3 minutes light show. What we always do is we try to also measure the impact of our design so that we can learn also for the next project to come. And also, since we are also working a lot with public realm at the moment, we are doing the full reconstruction of the Croisette in Cannes. So really to understand how we can impact to the better, of course, for the living condition, to the climate, biodiversity. This is kind of the red carpet, so having a red carpet for everyone, but also to reconnecting it to the city, working with the public realm, the infrastructure, the biodiversity, but most importantly, I think it's also to deprivatize the beachfront, which is mostly occupied by hotels, so giving limited accessibility for the people, so non-commercial access. That is really this project promoting about. Or when we work in existing structures, which I think are the future projects for every one of us, because everything that we have is already built, so to say, when it comes to the climatic situation, the environmental situation that we are in at the moment. So we are working currently with a retrofit of the former slaughterhouse area in Milan, turning it to the first CO2 neutral neighborhood following their air purification plan that they have. So we have these fantastic cathedrals of the industrial age, and this will kind of be a new neighborhood where the existing structures are transformed into kind of cultural venues of different kinds. So also to showing that the beauty of these existing structures and densifying it, I think this is an important part also of our responsibility. And we had the privilege to hear the museum talk before my talk. We got the commission in Dordogne to work with the Lascaux Cave Museum in France. This is the area that has the most founding of prehistoric caves. So our project was really about to make this accessible, so it's a visitor center, and also to build a replica of the existing aids, because it can't take the visitors, it will be actually destroyed. So by kind of working also with artists and scanning the existing cave with a millimeter precision, and working here at 20 artists works with this for many years to reproduce the original paintings with original pigments, and then giving the opportunity to reconnect with the history, but then obviously also contrasting this with contemporary spaces, so you are aware that you are not, of course, in the real cave, but then also having being able to relate to your history. And I will close with this project because actually these are the same reindeers that are also in the area in France. A small public building that we were giving with is for the Norwegian Reindeer Association. It's basically at the mountain of Snøhetta, visiting a pavilion. I'm doing this very quickly, but just to understand that we are working with the entire chain of this project. A visiting pavilion where you can go and observe nature. It's a 90 square meter pavilion, but just to give you a cater for this experience, and we call it keyless structure. It's one of our smallest public buildings, but obviously it has to do with the context that it's in. Or maybe I may close with this one, because we spoke about tourism. We spoke about how architecture can promote a specific area. And this is Europe's first underwater restaurant at the tip of Norway in Lindesnes. And this has a fantastic and very particular underwater life because salt water and brackish water are coming together. So this is not only an underwater restaurant, it's also a laboratory for the Marine Research University in the south of Norway. So I'm using this actively to understand underwater life. So we love to have these synergies also to create the double kind of functionality of any built environment that we are designing. And also working with all the visual identity. Under means under, wonder, so working with the double meaning of and also then working with all the web, booking, the narrative. These are the projects that we obviously love to work with, where we can work with all types of the visual narratives in the project. Thank you very much.